Scrappy friends, welcome to my channel. This is 52 weeks of 52 favorite photos. Hop. So every week we are sharing a photo that is just part of our everyday life that we want to scrap, and it's just a good way to challenge ourselves to take photos of the things that we want to remember throughout the week and document the elements of our week. And so, since I haven't been scrapbooking in a few years consistently, I really wanted to make sure that I was taking photos. So this challenge is perfect for me. So I'm super happy that Miranda decided to do this. And so let's get into what I'm doing. I decided to switch over to an 8.5 by 11 album. I have one that's in my scrap room that has nothing in it. And oh boy, I'm just going over that real fast. So hopefully you don't get sick really easily. And I'm putting clear gesso. I'm using a really heavy gesso on this one because I do not want to get anything on my page, and I really like just that consistency. It's so smooth and buttery, and let me tell you, I have not bought that. I don't know when I bought that. Probably 2019, maybe 2020 I got a new one. And it is still perfectly fine and thick, and it does the trick. So I did heat that down with my heat gun. And so now I'm going to get some sprays. I roll these. These are shimmer sprays. I used to be on the shimmers team, and so I have a ton of this stuff, and I actually really like using these for watercolor. I'm just going to use the paintbrush that I used for my gesso. I do clean it out pretty well, but I really don't use a whole lot of other medias with that paintbrush. I stick to just using gesso with it. And then like I'll do something like this, but I clean it out, and I only have that one paintbrush for gesso. So I don't use any of my other paintbrushes for gesso because otherwise it gets down at the bottom, because gesso has that really thick consistency and it's meant to have grip on your page, right? So it helps hold on to the colors, the watercolor and paint. And so it just really does not clean well of a paintbrush. It just really does not. And so while I'm doing this, I have my gesso paintbrush in the water, but after that I take it out and I dry it really well, and I don't leave it in there longer than that, because otherwise then the water from the fibers goes up towards that metal and the wood, and then it'll just like really mess up your paintbrush. So you really don't want to use a really nice paintbrush. That's just like a cheap Michael's paintbrush. Super simple. So as you can see, I added that lighter color, like mint teal, and then that darker color teal, and I just did a little bit. Not really. There's no rhyme or reason. A lot of times when I do my pages, if you haven't followed my channel, I am a very, like, whatever feels good when I'm doing it, I just do. And sometimes I don't like what comes out, but a lot of times I do. And each step I think about, like, okay, what feels good now? So this is where I'm doing some hearts with another color. This is pink stilettos, I believe. And like I said, all of these are either a shimmerings or a colorings. And they're so nice to use as a watercolor. So they work perfectly great as a spray. And that's why I roll it so it doesn't get clogged up in the spray nozzle. I don't think I've had any of them do that. Or maybe like one. But I was playing around in my art journal. You've seen my art journal at the beginning of this little section. And I did play around with that, doing that there, because I wanted to see how it looked before I put it on the page. And if I could figure out how to get the hearts, like how I wanted them, if I wanted to fill them in or just leave them open, and what paintbrush I needed. So I played around with the paintbrush, and you guys will see that art journal page at some point. It's not done yet. But so I played around in an art journal, because that's what art journals are best for, right? Is playing around and figuring out. And I figured out that that one paintbrush that I was using was the best. So now I'm gonna just outline a couple of these. This is a what kind of pen? These are like a Japanese company pen, and they're like a gel point in the roller, and I really like them. They work really nicely on media because they don't get like all clogged up. And I find when I use like the felt tip marker, thin marker pens, most of those don't work really well on any mixed media. I really need to find a really good pen to do mixed media. So if any of you guys do mixed media and you have a pen that you really like to use to doodle on your pages, I know that I have a couple of Pashka ones, and I probably need to look and see if they have some black ones, because I have some white ones and I really like that. And I have a Faber-Castell black one, but that has a really thick brush nub. So now I'm going to start building the whole layout. This is dry. I use my heat gun on a lot of it, so, and I do both sides. This kind of helps with the warping, but honestly, you have to stack stuff on top of it once it's dry, which kind of makes it hard if you have a lot of dimensions on your layouts. So I say I try to keep that in mind. I don't, honestly. I just know that it's going to kind of get a little crushed, but I will put it underneath a whole bunch of other layouts, because I am really bad about putting layouts in protectors. That's one of my projects that I need to do for this year, is figure out how many I actually need so that I can start purchasing albums, or at least protectors, and then start putting them in albums. I'm kind of nervous to do that because I have so many, but it's a good thing to do. Anyway, because otherwise people can't look at them. So now I'm just going to build and layer, and I am looking where I want to put my photo so that I can layer on there. And I'm just going to do a few layers. I'm going to mat that. I'm using just like a whole mishmash of collections and papers. None of them are, I don't think most of them are from the same. I looked around and seen what I had, and here you see me moving my fingers. I'm thinking about what I want to do. And like, what kind of layers do I want next? And I'm going to play around with the bottom part and then go back up to the top part, because who doesn't want to do that? I feel like when I just move around, and it works well for me, and sometimes I have more of an idea of what I want, and sometimes I don't. And this layout, I went into it not having any idea of what I was going to do, but that's okay. And I think that's what makes it fun for me, is that a lot of times I just don't know what I'm going to do. And so sometimes it's nice when I have like a sketch or I'm scrap lifting, because then I come in with a plan, but that's not always the case. So I'm using a ton of different little pieces. And I had some of that black and white. I think that is from, I'm trying to think. It was from a little paper pad. It was in one of the collections that was in the summer. Gosh, it'll probably come to me when I'm not thinking about it. But that teal paper, the heart teal paper, I believe that is from a really old collection from Crate Paper, the One Girl collection, like a long time ago. And that cat paper down at the bottom is it's a printable collection from Salem Studios, I think. I think that's who. I got it at the Lily Pad, so I buy on and off. And actually, that was some of the collections that I bought in the time that I wasn't scrapbooking were digital, because I was doing a little bit of Project Life for a little while, and that flower paper is so pretty. That also is Crate Paper. I do pick out a few things from that crepe paper because I'm really loving that color combination, that pink with the teal, and then just adding a little bit of black and white. That purple paper is pink paisley. I love that collection. Oh no, how many of you guys have had that collection? I absolutely loved it. It was when they started switching over to that other style, and it was a fall collection, I want to say. It was just super fun. So I'm just going to place this. I want to try to make sure that you can see the hearts a little bit, but I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, even if just a little piece of it is sticking out, that is also a printable, or something like that. It might be from, I used to get Citrus kits, their Project Life kits, because it kind of makes it nice to do Project Life. And there's like quite a few cats and stuff on in the Wonder collection and the crepe paper one. Actually, they both might be crepe paper. The Wonder might be an earlier collection because that one was a little bit more vintagey looking, or more of that yellow base instead of the whites. And that big heart that I haven't decided where I'm going to put, what is from Pretty Little Studio. I think that was a Marie Capistran collection that she did years ago, maybe 2016. She did like a collection with hot air balloons and stuff like that. It was super fun. And one thing I like about their collections is they're smaller. Like, there's not as many papers, they're not as big, but there's the colors and the combos are just not as traditional as everywhere else. So, but that one was really fun because it had a lot of elements that were watercolor like. And I'm looking through my Dear Lizzie stuff. I'm just looking through a few old stuff. Now, that one collection that I just opened up this pack, I think I had 3 or 4 packs of that collection die cut because I absolutely love the colors. That I think is one of my all-time favorite collections, or at least older collections. Um, and that's when Dear Lizzie really started switching over to that different style, um, more of that white based, a little bit cleaner, like, I don't even know how to explain it. I want to say a cleaner look, but not really. It just was different from a lot of the other collections and stuff. So it's kind of fun to look back at that and see just how much things have changed, like, and just the look of the patterns and the styles. So it had a lot of the similar colors that I'm looking to add. And of course you can't see what I'm doing down here. I didn't realize that you couldn't see down there. So I think I gotta fix where I have some guides. So I know where my view is, what's in view on my camera setup, but those Maggie Holmes little tickets worked out really nicely. So here I'm like playing around again. Like, where do I want to put it? And I'm gonna end up putting it down there because I really liked it down there. So, and once again, I'm trying to figure out where to put this. A sticker says sugar and spice. So this picture is a picture of my cat, Mako. And he loves boxes. So if we get an Amazon package or whatever, and the box gets laid out, he will just live in that box. And he was living in that box. And we put catnip in it, and he'll lay in there, and he just lays in there, and the dog bugs him, and he lays in there. It's super fun. But for my everyday story, I decided I was gonna journal more, not so much about the cat, even though he's super cute. Don't get me wrong. um, my kids absolutely adore him, and so they should because he's theirs for the most part. And I mean, he's a family cat, but But my oldest is staying with her dad more than she stays with me. And so one of the fun things that I do each week is take a picture of Mako and send it to her because she loves him. And, I just want her to have, see how he's doing and have a whole bunch of pictures of him because I know she misses him. So I want to document that aspect of things, of something that I do every week, and who knows, like that might change over time. So, and that's the fun part of this challenge, is seeing how things change over the years, but over the year, and like just to have these stories that you want to remember, because this is something that I might not remember. I don't know, I might remember, but it'll just be nice to have that documented, of like something that I do right now, which is the whole purpose of this challenge. The whole purpose of it is to just get down those stories that maybe you might forget that you do want to remember. And I know, like, a lot of us have done Project Life throughout the years, or like, especially if you're really proficient and or prolific, I should say, in scrapbooking on a regular basis, you probably are going to get more of those stories. But like, sometimes certain stories are easy to miss because it's just something that happens all the time, every day. And so, unless you're intentional about getting those stories down, you might actually forget. So, I was just finishing up with some enamel dots, because who doesn't like enamel dots? I know I do. Um, and they just add a little nice, fun little pop. And so I'm just going to put them in a few places, and then I'm going to finish this up. So thank you guys for watching. Definitely check out the playlist, because there is a ton of other videos with amazing layouts and stuff, and it's just fun seeing what everybody else is doing and what they're documenting. So check that out, and I will be back next week, and I will see you guys later. Bye. Have a great scrappy week.